and title. We request the earnest money deposit from the buyer. We let everybody know when the earnest money deposit is in. Once the earnest money deposit is in, we'll send out escrow instructions. We'll make sure that those are sent back in so we can then order the necessary things to clear title so we can close the escrow. We also, on the buyer side, we want to make sure that we have all the information in to provide to the lender if they're getting a loan so that they'll be ready to get their loan and we can close. We kind of keep the timeline and make sure that everything is in. All, like if there's a termite report, we're going to ask you for the termite inspection. We're going to ask you, we're going to address the things that are not, that need to be addressed. If things come up, if there's a credit, what's the credit for? We're going to make sure that the lender's aware of that credit. That's why when you do your request for repairs, it's always make sure that escrow has that, because sometimes they don't even send us the request for repairs. And that's a big thing because it could be a price reduction or a credit. So we're there just to make sure that it runs smoothly, that everything is met, everything's in, all the reports are delivered to the buyer. So when it's time to remove those contingencies, your contingencies are removed in a timely manner. If there's a problem with the HOA, we're going to deal with the HOA with the buyer to help make sure that all their answers are, questions are answered. So we're just there to make sure that everybody's okay and that we address the things that need to be addressed if they come up.
Okay. Anything special you worked on lately?
We have stuff special every day, okay? Our agents are special, and that's why I love you guys, okay? I always say that I specialize with the special people. and then, a lot of escrow officers are just like, they're not nice, but I like to be nice and friendly because the transaction itself is a lot. For an agent, for buyers, for sellers, it's probably their first time. So that's why we want to be there to answer the questions, to get those questions answered that they may have. I always say, send me over a list so then I can just forward it to the necessary party and make sure that your clients are taken care of. And that's all everybody wants to do is to make sure that somebody in the transaction is on top of it. Okay, so that's what we do. We're there just to facilitate, to make sure that it's going smoothly, to make sure that we're ready to fund, that the money's coming in, that you're aware as the agent, where's your retrofit, that some things you should know, but then we're there to remind you, okay? So you may get emails or your clients. If you see your clients getting an email, it's always good as an agent to follow up with your client. Hey, the escrow company's reaching out. I see they sent a couple of emails. Make sure you get them what they need. And it's very important to stay present through your transaction, because a lot of agents, some go on vacation and don't even tell us. And we're like, we're trying to email and you're on vacation, but who's getting the money for this? So it's just very important to stay present. You wouldn't believe how many times that the seller has gotten mad at the agent and wouldn't even talk to them anymore. So now I have to sit there and be the facilitator. Now, I'm gonna do it because that's my job. On the same token, it's your duty to make sure you're taking care of your clients, okay? So when you see those emails or when you're in a transaction, just keep your clients informed. Let them know about the things they need to pay up front. If there's an HOA, if you're dealing with a unit and you're going into a listing and there's an HOA, hey, well, we're going to have to order HOA docs. So be prepared because it's typically a upfront fee. People get mad when the escrow sends an email saying we need $700 and nobody told them that before. People get mad when there's a retrofit that needs to be done, which is standard on all sales transactions for the most part, and you never told them that before. Now they have all this work that needs to be done, and now they don't want to pay it. And guess what they say? Can you cover it? Why would I cover it? It's not my retrofit, So it's all about just keep your clients informed so that you look like a star, and what you don't know, come ask me so I can help you look like a star. Okay?
Thank you. Can I say
and just please know, yes.
This lady and what she does is by far the most labor intensive and most important, I think, piece of the real estate puzzle. She touches everything and everybody. Title, I work with you guys, the agents, I work with escrow and a little bit with the lender. She touches the buyer, she touches the seller. It's that experience. They're gonna be talking to her. If she says no to something, the answer is no, even if I want to go do it. She is the most important one in this puzzle. So you know her, you love her, you keep her, and you do what she says because she's going to tell you right. So of all the pieces of the puzzle in this business, you find someone like Pele and you stick with them.
Oh, thank you. And Lauren's great too. Very powerful.
I see it.
Her vendor, so
I see it behind the scenes because all the emails fly. I'm on them. And I don't know how you do it. honestly,
Yeah.
because there's so many moving parts, I couldn't do
But
it.
best believe that my work life is way better than my regular home life. I'm very organized. When I get home, it's like walking into a melee, you know? But even if you have a transaction and I'm not on it, and you need some guidance or you need to say, oh, they're not moving, come ask me. I'll tell you what to write to them to make them start moving. People do it all the time. If you have an estimate, you just want me to look over. We also have what's called a pre-opening. I don't know, does everybody have my card? If you don't, let me just give it to you real quick. Okay, you can call me. We do what's a pre-opening. That you have my card. I'm gonna give you another one. How you doing? We do what's called a pre-opening. So if you have a hot listing and it's about to go into the market, you have HOA, it's the city of LA, you want us to order the reports, we can get all that ready for you. We can tell you how much those HOA docs will be. We'll order a prelim title and we'll have them send it over so I can go over it with you, okay? If you ever have any questions, that's what I'm here for. I am your in-house, we are a family and we stick together, okay? If you have an offer, like you're submitted for a buyer, always write my name in. Cannon Hills Closings. All they can do is say no. Sometimes they'll give it to you. So it's always good to have your people on your, on that contract, okay? You need anything else, JJ?
Awesome.
All right, thank you. And JJ's awesome, okay? We're so happy to have him back over our program. Let's get JJ here. And one last thing, I will have an escrow class, so try to come to my class. I'm gonna
What is
schedule
your
it
birthday
soon.
cake?
I didn't eat any cake. Do I look like I need to eat cake? Okay, so, but just try to come to that escrow class. It's very informative and you can ask the questions and you can just understand the escrow process, okay? I haven't scheduled it yet, but I will schedule, okay? And I'll let JJ know so he can tell you guys. All right, enjoy you guys' class. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
So, okay. All right, so, I, in the shared folder that I share with you guys, you have that. Don't have it, but my email address is email me, ask for shared folder. So I have instructions. That's so fun. I have instructions like what to do after your offer is accepted. There's something I have in the shared folder. It's what to do after your offer is accepted. And if you are on the listing side or buyer side, your first job is to email escrow with your client's contact information. Because the escrow has to send wire instructions to the buyer.
The deposit.
So they can get their deposit in. And then, so I'm gonna send an email to escrow and give them my buyer's information or my seller's information, email with phone number. I'm also gonna tell them who we're using for title. And then if I've already opened a title report, then I'll send them a copy of it. And this is important, sometimes you'll send that title report and you just want to make sure that escrow is aware of it and they're using that title report. Because sometimes they'll just order a new one, they're doing so much. When Lauren was talking about the back end, like we don't even see how much work escrow is doing. I was once included on all this CCing from a lender. There is so much back end that escrow is doing that we don't see. It's amazing. It's really amazing. I don't know how to do it.
Which is why a good one will have your back.
Yeah.
They'll tell you things, they just won't go silent, and then you get surprised. There's so much that goes on. I'm on all the emails, right? From all the different ones. So I see it. It is a thankless job because you can do 1,000 escrows perfectly and then one mess up and that's all anyone's gonna remember.
So we want our escrows to be as smooth as possible, right? We want smooth transactions. Smooth transaction equals happy client, repeat customer. If you have a good escrow officer, you'll have a good transaction. If you don't have an escrow officer that's meeting deadlines and ordering things ahead of time in anticipation of meeting deadlines, you will have a really, really hard escrow and hard time with your client. Nothing will be done on time. Like it's so important. And that's why There are some listing agents that insist on using their escrow. It's why when you are a listing agent, you should insist on using your escrow.
Yeah.
Because if you leave it up to the other agent with some $300 escrow, like, you know, you're just asking for trouble. Basically, you're gonna have a problem. Nothing's gonna get closed. Nothing's gonna happen on time. Everyone's gonna be complaining, and they're just looking at you, right? It all falls on you. The best escrow is the one you never hear anything about. And they are doing their job. They're doing a lot of work. So escrow, again, is a neutral party. They can't do anything without the buyer and seller both agreeing to something. So if the seller, if you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent and the buyer has requested something get repaired or credited, repairs I don't want to send to escrow. The reason for that is because that could get sent to the lender and it could interfere with your deal. Lenders, some lenders, if they see a repair that needs to get made, they might insist that repair be completed prior to the deal moving through the company. Like, so it's just another wrinkle in what needs to be a smooth sheet. Okay, so escrow being a neutral party, if the buyer agrees to get a credit instead of the seller repairing something, that would be a credit. So that's money being credited from the seller to the buyer. You need to prepare an addendum or something that says seller is crediting buyer. Both sign it. So we get our client to sign, the other agent gets their client to sign. Once that's signed by both parties, then that can be delivered to escrow and they'll create their own escrow amendment reflecting that. But escrow is not going to do anything unless both parties agree.
It would be, okay, the buyer.
So you're representing who in this situation?
The buyer.
The buyer, okay. The buyer asked for something to get repaired.
Yes, see something, we wouldn't send those to escrow.
Not to escrow, you're sending a request for repair to the listing agent.
Okay.
And then you're gonna negotiate that. And I think you should always be negotiating a credit instead of an actual repair. Because when you get a credit, let the buyer do the repair. Then the buyer is gonna hire who they wanna hire, who they're comfortable with. They're gonna approve the job. If you leave it up to the seller, they're gonna pick the cheapest person to do it. It may not get done properly. They're not gonna follow up on it. And then your buyer's gonna inherit a problem, right? Let the buyer get money for it, let them take care of it, they'll be happy. It's the best way. So after you guys do your general inspection and all your inspections, you're gonna get a report back telling everything that's wrong with the property. It doesn't say what's good about the property. You're gonna have a giant, 30 to 70 page report on everything wrong with the property. And your buyer is looking at this thing going, should I back out? Is this really the house for me? There's so much work to do. And what you're gonna find is there's usually a lot of little things, very, very few minor things, major things. Major things do come up, but there's usually a lot of little minor things. What I do is I make a spreadsheet and I'll list all the things that are there to get repaired. Next to it, I'll put my guesstimate on how much I think it's gonna cost to repair. And I'm just putting prices on everything and adding it all up and I'm coming up with a number. When the focus is on the number instead of all the items that it's covering, it's a lot different to a buyer. And they're like, oh, I can take care of all that with that? Okay, great. It just changes their whole perception of the work.
And what formula would you use?
Let's just use a spreadsheet. I actually take my inspection report and I go page by page and I list all the items. And I put the page number and I put a dollar amount, my guesstimate. And then that's just for my buyer, so they can come up with a number of what they're gonna request from the seller. And then we arrive at a number. And then once that's arrived at, then we'll notify escrow, and because the lender also has to be notified of that number. And escrow is gonna prepare an amendment for that credit. And then I wanna clear the verbiage with the lender. The lender has to be okay with what that says. It's usually gonna say, seller agrees to credit buyer $4,000 at close of escrow. The question is toward closing costs or toward non-recurring closing costs. Different lenders want different things to say. Right? So I always clear that with the lender first. So I don't put another wrinkle in there. And that's it. And then that goes to escrow, they prepare it. No problem. But we want to get it done as fast as possible, as soon as possible, the transaction. Because the lender has to send out a closing disclosure, I think 3 days before funding. So we want to make sure that those numbers are accurate before closing. So we want to just do everything with advance notice. Okay, now. A property that does not have clean title is probably gonna hold you up on selling it. So it's really important to find out what's recorded on a property way at the beginning of your transaction to anticipate any problems in the future. So on a new listing or even right before, when you're signing your listing agreement, you want to pull a title report to find out if there are any hiccups. What are you going to do if a cash buyer walks into your new listing and wants to close in 7 days? And there's no title report yet, you don't know what the problems are, and something appears on title that's going to take 2 weeks to clear up, right? Or 3 weeks, who knows? Like, so we want to try to make sure that we have a sellable listing and that we could sell it, right? So Lauren is here. Lauren is amazing. So just to tell you about Lauren's prospecting, because we're all about prospecting and getting business. So I've been doing this almost 20 years now. I was very loyal to a title guy I was using, I had a great relationship. Lauren came into one of my open houses and he's like, I want to earn your business. And I'm like, Lauren, I'm just going to be honest with you. I have someone pretty loyal to them. Lauren was like, okay, great. But I'm here. Open house, he came again. Open house, he came again. Different properties on my listing. He would always come, and I was like, so I gave him a deal. It was amazing, and I've only used Lauren since. All right, so I can't tell you, he saved me time after time after time, and like I'm in a deal right now that he's closing tomorrow. I think we're closing, and the deal just would not have happened without one. It wouldn't have gone through. So other title companies were like, we can't do it, we can't do it, we can't do it. Lauren saved it. So
Can you go into the details of this deal?
Is that the one where?
it's up to Lauren. It's up to Lauren.
Is that the one where?
My seller passed away. Like, I have a seller that passed away mid-escrow. And I've known these sellers since I'm a little kid. Like I know them.
Wow.
And I know them independently from school, and they married each other. Unfortunately, the husband passed away. It's a shame. I know both families forever. And but they didn't have their property in a trust. And they didn't have a will, didn't have a trust. And Lauren, what did you do? What did you say?
How did you save the deal?
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I didn't know anybody passed away. So once we found that out, we just looked at the vesting and I said, here's what's got to happen. We've got to get this done. He or she's got to sign. Need to record it, give me the original, have our people look at it. And even though it's not recorded yet, I'm recorded closed. We kind of blessed the vesting pass the way it's going to go down now. But vesting with it just in general, guys, vesting is always a tough thing. Vesting is the ownership, how people hold title to a property, joint tenancy, community property, tenancy common, trust, partnerships, all that kind of stuff. So who signs and the paperwork needed to get to that decision making is all on us.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get there with the least amount of like brain damage, the least amount of hassle for the sellers who are going through a death in the family, going through a divorce, going through whatever, a partnership dissolution, resigning as trustee. There's all kind of moving parts investing. So it's just one of those things where I can kind of pick it apart and say, okay, this will fly and this is the easiest path to get there. And I know what my underwriters will sign off on or not. Can I do one thing real quick? You guys, when you have a listing, open a title report, because when you open a title report, then I've got it, right? I can tell you. We're not on Zoom, are we?
No, we are.
Are we? Oh, thank, okay. When you got a listing, they open a title report. There's no harm, no foul. I'm not going to charge you for anything. You'll have it in your file. There's no need to rush and get it when you have that 10-day all cash commit, because it's going to take a couple days to get there. Hyperlink documents to everything in the report. So have it up front, you get a review, and then I can tell you what you got as a listing agent. Ooh, you're gonna end up going to probate because this person passed away. Ooh, did you see the bankruptcy? Ooh, IRS lien of $500,000. Did you know that? Here's now what we need to do, and this is the time frame that it's probably gonna end up taking. Then I work with escrow to get there. All these things that may come up in a title report that your sellers, frankly, just forgot to tell you. Okay, great, that's when you have a listing. But when you're repping a buyer on the buy side, if the listing agent listens to someone like me, they pull the title report too, right? So if you're repping a buyer, I'm not gonna run the full title report, right? I can do a property profile, which is comps and, bed bath square footage, but you wanna see, and the buyer wants to see all of the new shit that's not in a property profile. It's in a title report, the CC&Rs, the easements, covenants, conditions, restrictions. Is there anything egregious in there that a buyer should know? So you're going to ask the listing agent to give you that title report, which hopefully they pull. Send that title report to me. So when you're repping a buyer, send it to me. I will tell you, oh, they're going to go to probate, which means that this deal is going to be sidelined for 30 to 60 days, which means your rate lock may not work, buyer. Or buyer, did you know that, there's an IRS issue, which is going to take them quite a while to figure out? Do you want to move forward with your inspections now, or maybe hold off a little bit? So I can give you clues when you're, again, repping the buyer, that will tell you if the seller's got any problems. And if your buyer is going to be sitting for a while, or if they should move forward, a little nugget in there that may explode. So get that from the listing agent, run it by me. Again, if they're smart, they've got one. But on the listing site, for sure. Open it up, put it in the file, and then when you go under contract, it's an easy update and off we go.
Excellent. How do people get in touch with you?
L Goldman at firsthand.com, but I got cards all over the place. So anybody that doesn't have
Got
it,
your email.
Got me, you got me. Can I have the card?
And can you post it in the chat, please?
Sure.
And I had a question.
Yes.
yeah.
If you have title, if seller had title in a corporation, they decided they want to dissolve the corporation, so they transferred it in the irrevocable trust. Tax assessor sends a letter. They want to prove that the same owner of the corporation is the same owner of the irrevocable trust. Send them all the bylaws and everything. In the irrevocable trust, is the grantor considered the owner, or is it the trustee that is considered the owner? And the irrevocable, because in the irrevocable, it's like you're a grantor, the person who owns the property, and then you have a trustee that is like overseeing everything, and that trustee is the one that has to sign off on anything that you want to do.
The trustee's in charge. So if there's a trustee to a trust, they can sign. And we can get into successor trustees and resignation of a trustee, but to your question, if you're dissolving a corporation, we would need the partnership agreement to see who signs on behalf of that dissolution, right? Because how do I know all the partners signed off?
No, let me be, I'm sorry, I'm clear on the question. The business was a sole proprietor, one owner. That same owner took their house and put it in an irrevocable trust, so they became the grantor. Attorney says, yes, you're the owner because you're the grantor, but the property got reassessed anyway, as if the owner of the corporation and the owner of the trust, I guess they're saying, wasn't the same, or it wasn't done in enough time. So my question is the owner, if it's the sole proprietor in the corporation, that is the owner. And when you turn it into an irrevocable trust, that same person that was the owner of the corp they become the grantor of the irrevocable trust that the deed is in now, aren't they still the owner?
Yes, because if A basically grants it to themselves, they're
Right.
the owner. Now, but slow down. For title insurance, again, I'm gonna look at the articles of incorporation. I'm gonna look at the entity documents to make sure that transfer was done right. Right signatures, one guy, that's fine, but I need to see it.
Yeah.
And it gets transferred to a trust. I'm assuming they are trustee of their own trust. So they are.
No, the
No, okay.
trustee is the father.
Okay,
The
so
owner is the
then-
grantor.
Then the father is the one that I would need a signature from. Okay, and to your assessment question, I'm not the tax man, but when a deed gets recorded, what goes along with the deed is something called a PCOR, preliminary change of ownership report. So it's one thing to record a deed changing ownership, which is fine, but a PCOR should go with it. And every escrow company will do that, but when people do it on their own, they leave that document out. That PCOR tells the assessor if this is a taxable event. If this transfer from one to another is a taxable event. Without the PCOR, the assessor doesn't know, so they're gonna reassess it. And then they're gonna let you figure it out later.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Go to the assessor and say, no, you shouldn't have reassessed me. Here's why.
Exactly.
So that PCOR should have gone with that deed. It would have told the assessor that it's a non-taxable event. Because again, otherwise they tax you. And then if they'll let you figure it out later.
That's what happened. I'm going down, I have to go down to the Temple Street. Okay,
I have
that was a nightmare.
Another question.
Lauren, I was wondering if the title is not clear, can the transaction still be closed?
No, because at the end of the transaction, the buyer is my insured. And if the buyer doesn't get clean title, I won't let it close. Because everything comes back to the buyer, they have a claim against me. So even though they're working with the seller mostly, and the seller's paying for it, then 95% of my involvement in the deal is with the sellers. If there's any cloud on title, first of all, the lender won't allow it if there's a loan, but we won't allow it to close unless everything's cleared up, because again, it will fall to the buyer. And if the buyer will wake up and have whatever cloud still, can I give you an example? There's a loan on the property that, we see is paid off, but there's proof, but there's not the actual proof like a reconveyance deed. Maybe there's somebody at a bank telling us something, maybe there's a zero balance statement, but there's no recorded document to get that loan off title, okay?
A reconveyance.
Yes, you need a reconveyance deed to wipe a loan off the books. The reconveyance deed was not there, but for my example, everything else was. If the bank says so, the seller says so, we go with it, okay? And there's a lot of examples in title that we just go with. The problem is that loan was never properly reconveyed. So even if we close this, the buyer, this loan is still gonna keep popping up on the buyer's title chain. So it's just not right. It's not right for that buyer. It's just gonna be a pain for them. It's gonna be on the property chain, and it's gonna be a question forevermore. So it's just examples like that where if it's a real cloud, then the answer is a hard no. Sometimes it's a soft no and we'll let things go, but it affects the buyer. So we don't like to do that. So we will do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen, but also keeping in mind the deal should and needs to close, because this is someone's life in transaction, right? They've got a moving van, they've got painters coming, there's all kinds of things moving, and we want to respect the time. The money's in and the meter's running on the money, right? The buyer's money, the seller's money has not been paid off because it hasn't closed. So everything considered, we do everything we can to make sure that there are no clouds. And that, as you can see, it's with a little asterisk.
Thank you. You know what? Because usually actually the title is the seller's agent and the seller will choose the title, right?
Traditionally here in LA, yes.
Okay, so as a buyer's agent, can I trust that title guy that he will check everything on the title, or should I do and check that also on my side for my buyer?
Send it to me.
Okay.
Send it to me. I know them all. I know the companies. I know them all. I just want to see it. I don't even care who the title rep is or the title officer. Just give me the prelim. I can tell you in a few minutes whether if you're going to hit a wall or not.
Thank you so much.
So just a quick question on the reconveyance deed. You fill that out and,
So regarding reconveyance deeds,
yeah,
usually, when a loan is first signed off on, the reconveyance deed is also part of that package. When the loan gets paid off, that reconveyance deed gets recorded, but it's already done. It should be part of the original loan package. Here's the problem. You have a loan, and then that loan got sold and that loan got sold again. And then all of a sudden it gets paid off, but the reconveyance deed doesn't get recorded. And then that company disappears. It got sold, or that person's not in business anymore.
Right.
You can't find them because they're the ones that need to record it. The person who had the original loan
right.
needs to say it was paid. That's the problem.
And the reconvenience deed should be in the original package. It's often not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll trail by a week to 2, which is okay. As long as it's there, then it's the buyer's issue is solved. It won't pop up again, even if it trails by a couple weeks, right? The bigger problem, it's not with Wells, B of A, or Chase, right? They've got huge reconveyance departments to crank this stuff out. The problem is when JJ loans me $100,000, right? And then years later, I paid JJ.
And I pass away and I didn't record the reconveyance deed. What happens?
Or he just gets his money.
Now the buyer can never get that reconveyance deed.
And he doesn't have a reconveyance department. He's just JJ. And all this, and so now this loan forevermore just kind of sits on the books. We call it private Benny, the beneficiary's lender. So here's my lender, the private Benny, and he didn't reconvey it. Those are problems. And then yes, finding JJ, finding his heirs, getting the signature from it. It's sometimes a challenge.
This is common. This is not an uncommon problem.
So when you have a prelim and I see what I call a private Benny, I'm gonna tell you guys, jump on this one. Because again, it's not Wells, Chase, B of A, where they can call and automatically get a payoff number and start a reconveyance getting generated. This is just a guide. It's a whole different story. So up front, I'm gonna say, make sure you get a demand. A demand is the payoff, the piece of paper that shows title. We make the payoff, guys. The demand shows title, how much to pay off this loan. And getting a demand from those big banks, again, is easy. Getting it from an individual, sometimes not.
You know, it's funny, when we had I don't remember which downturn it was. I think it was like 2007, 2008. There were a ton of foreclosures that happened. It's interesting. There were so many loans that they were sold so many times. The people that owned the loans didn't even have a copy of the original loan. Do you remember that? Like,
Well, yes, I was around. So someone would literally refi on a Monday and then refi again on a Friday. And I loved it, right? It was fine, but the loans weren't reconveyed. They just didn't even do it. So it was just a cluster. It was just not, it took a while for that golf ball to go through the hose kind of thing, right? A while. But we just need to make sure at the end of the day, the buyer gets absolutely everything clean. Because if not, they come back and they sue us and they'll win.
we love Lauren. He gets the deal done. He will turn over every rock and stone to make the deal. It's good to have a connection like Lauren, and everyone knows Lauren. Like, you know, when you're in a deal with another agent, and there are some tough agents out there, but they know Lauren's on it. They're not going to push back on it.
Thank you. It's reputation. It's a small town. It's everybody. It's 6 blocks here. You know, it's like telephone, telegraph, telerealtor. Everybody knows me, and reputation is very important. And you know, again, just like escrow, you're only as good as your last deal. But it's also very much stylistic, just like your business. Like I'm not here to give anybody brain damage or to be intransigent and say no, no, no. I'm here to figure it out. And I need your help in doing that. I need your buyer and seller's help in doing that. But I will figure out a pathway to get there.
When I started real estate, I didn't realize how important title was. I thought it was just one of those things, it's just part of the deal, just insurance, okay, no problem, it doesn't matter, it's just title. It is so important. It is so important. And I had very wealthy clients that I was dealing with that the only contingency they had on some of their cash purchase deals was approval of title report. That was literally their only contingency. Like, that's how important title was to the really savvy investors.
And we are in savvy investor center of the universe, right? This is the West Side. The buyers and sellers here are very litigious. They dig deep into everything. This isn't like other places in the country. Frankly, Southern California is I am mostly title only, right? So 98% of everything I do is just title. So I've got to figure out the title. Everywhere else in the country, and I mean everywhere, guys. So LA, Orange, San Diego is different. Everywhere else in the country, it's escrow companies that are quarterbacking everything and the title companies behind them. So there's no independent escrows north of Santa Barbara. So you go north of Santa Barbara, you will escrow at First American Escrow and Title. Chicago Escrow Title, Fidelity Escrow Title. There's no such thing as a Granite Escrow, as a Cannon Hills Escrow. There's no independence. So I have got to have, and people in this town have got to have title chops, because you can't hide behind an escrow officer who's talking to a title officer, and a guy like me out here facing you doesn't have any involvement really in the deal at all. I've got major involvement in the deal. I've had to learn to roll up my sleeves and figure it out, or I wouldn't have survived 30 years. So I'm in the figuring it out business.
For us, new agents, do you have like a preliminary checklist, like sheet that we could have to send to listing agents?
I've got sample prelims. I do title classes. Every one of them so different that I don't know if it's a checklist kind of report. You know, I mean, there's ways on vesting, which, you know, we talked about just a little bit. There's a lot of the things from the development of the property, the covenants with the city, the affidavits, the CC&Rs, the easements, all that stuff from the birth of the property when it was developed. And then there's everything else. The seller, the taxes, the loans, the bankruptcies, the death certificates, all kinds of stuff. So it's not a checklist kind of thing, which is why you just got to send it to me.
Just regarding vesting, as soon as escrow is open, there's going to be a vesting sheet that gets sent to the buyer. How would you like to hold title? We can't give financial advice to that like that to our clients. It's really important how they take title now for the future. It's important how they take title right now, not how they take it. It's not going to be important right this second how they take title. They're taking title now for anticipation of their sale in the future. How, you know, that's what's important. There's going to be a tax consequence when that property gets sold in the future or transferred to family. So it's important how title's taken now for that future occurrence.
For the buyer, think about it, guys. It's a estate plan.
Yeah, it's a estate.
I mean, how you hold title is kind of a version of a estate plan. What happens if one dies? What happens if they both die? What happens? You know, it's estate planning. But the lender, if there's a loan, it's all cash. This is different. But if there's a loan, the lender is going to tell you, the buyer, how you're going to take title. Because the trust that your buyer has no job, has no income, and that's not on the loan app. So the lender's going to say, no. You're going to take title in your name, and you can do it as husband and wife joint tenants. You can do it community property. You can do it as an individual unmarried man. But they're going to tell you, can't go right in your corporate. I mean, if you got money in banking relationships, there are ways. But most of the time, we have in title what's called lender instructions when there's a loan, and we have to follow the lender instructions. It says, no, you're going to have to take title this. After close, put it in your trust, put it in a corporation, do what you want, give it to your sister.
And there could be a double recording. Like it can record a document the same day that's taking title to them and into the trust, putting it back into the trust. Is that right? No,
We don't like it.
You don't like it.
Because it knowingly violates the escrow, the lender's instructions that we just.
So if the escrow, but if the lender's okay with it, they might not.
Yeah, but if they were okay with
it.
it, they would do it right.
Okay, scratch what I said.
The answer to that is give it some daylight. Give it a week after closing and then record whatever you want.
So the danger is making sure it goes into the trust. Like there are lenders who want the property to come out of the trust before they'll refinance. Don't forget to put it back into the trust. That happens a lot where people just don't do the next step after they go through their whole refinance. They forget to put it back into the trust, and that does need to get recorded.
Right, and there was a way to go to the court and say, look, we were in a trust, we took it out to refi, but then we died and we never put it back in the trust. So please, court, treat us as if we were in the trust. And they would do that. Now they don't.
Oh, you don't?
So no, because the law, now the law, the courts are just not buying it anymore. So now they say, sorry, probate.
But
The
trust has
sellers-
more structure and,
Sorry?
but the trust has more structure and there's
Oh,
instruction.
but they just forgot to put it back in. They just forgot to transfer it back. So everything gets transferred with a title recording. So a person, like it says, me, JJ Wallack hereby transfers my interest in this property to this trust. And then when I want to refinance the property, I have to sign a new grantee as the trustee of that trust, signing it back to JJ Wallack. Then I can do my refinance. Once it's refinanced, then I have to do a new recording, JJ Wallack granting to the trust.
Okay,
And escrow will prepare that deed back in the trust. You guys certainly don't do it. These owners don't know how to do it. So normally the answer was go to a lawyer to do it, but now there's websites that do it. Let me give you a quick example. So my wife's name is Tracy. So Lauren and Tracy, co-trustees of the Goldman Family Trust. If I pass away, God forbid, and Tracy is this surviving co-trustee, she's surviving trustee. I'm sorry, we're both co-trustees. I passed. She's the surviving trustee. If something happens to her in the trust, it says who successor trustee is. But if my wife now all of a sudden I'm gone and it's just her, if now her as the remaining trustee starts to get mentally not there, old age home, we see a lot of this, right? Starts to go with Alzheimer's, stuff like that. The trust has provisions for the successor trustee to take over. We will ask, the title company will ask for doctor's notes to see if Tracy's, all there or not. And if the doctor's notes say, no, she's not, then the successor, we need a copy of the trust, but the successor trustee will allow to sign away the property.
So this is important for us when we're dealing with kids that are in their 60s,
Yeah.
right? And they're older parents.
Because what happens, exactly this, what happens is, now let's switch it to joint tenants. So Lauren and Tracy, joint tenants. If I pass away, before my wife Tracy starts to exhibit any kind of mental incapacity, she can sign a power of attorney to one of my daughters. And if that power of attorney was signed, and maybe we'll ask if now Tracy's not mentally all there, we may ask for a doctor's note or some affidavit that says when she did sign, she was competent, because you have to be competent to contract. But that power of attorney will now let one of my kids sign away the property. So that power of attorney, but in trust, no power of attorney. The trust, as I've said, already has the provision for what happens when someone's incapacitated. So community property, same thing. Listen, in community property, one should give power of attorney to another. Why not? Right? If I'm not all there, because joint tenancy, it's going to take two signatures to do anything, right? Not just real estate, but my health directive and our bank accounts and stuff like that. Power of attorney. So I should give it to my wife and my wife should give it to me if we're joint tenants or community property. It just makes sense. One is incapacitated and my wife all of a sudden is not all there and I have to put her in a home. I've got power of attorney and it was signed when she was mentally there. And again, we don't like them to be more than 2 years old, so it's another little sticky thing there. But power of attorneys work, joint tenancy, community property. Again, they do not work when you're in a trust, because the trust already has that. So I get all the time, somebody who's vested in a trust, Mom's not there, right? Mom's being sent to a home. And here comes one of the kids going, I got power of attorney. I'm like, oh, you got power of attorney, but the trust doesn't allow it.
Right.
So then come the doctor's notes, then come the trust. And we have to go that route.
Question. Can you explain what happens when the parents pass and the children have the house, but explain the tax situation if they haven't prepared anything?
You're probably talking stepped up basis. So if, it's a tax question, but if mom and dad own the property and their assessed value is low, because they bought it many, many years ago, all right? If they were to sell it today, they would have to pay capital gains on the difference between the assessed value and the sale price. For people that bought a long time ago at a very low price, that's a big number, right? That's a lot of dollars. If mom and dad were to pass, I pass away, my wife Tracy passes away, my kids now get the house. They get it at what's called a stepped up basis. No longer do they have to pay the capital gains between the assessed value where Tracy and I bought it versus the sale price, today when we pass away and the kids sell it. All of that is gone. My kids will get it at a stepped up basis. So they will pay no capital gains, which is why, honestly, guys, let me tell you this. A lot of people go after properties from elderly people. And there's a lot of people here that sell homes for lifestyle and they move from one place to another to be near the kids, they downsize, they do all this stuff. But when they, or to pay for mom's care at an old age home, that's all perfect, great and valid. But a lot of times when the kids figure out what that capital gains bill is going to be in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, they tend to say, yeah, we're going to keep mom in the house. Right? Because look, let's just be brutally honest. What if mom is a year from passing? Okay. Sell it now and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes, or just let mom sit and what we call respectfully going out feet first. And she dies. And then once she dies with the death certificates, stepped up basis, the kids sell the house, then no capital gains.
And don't they have a exclusion of what is it, 250 per person and 500 for a couple?
Yeah, off the 250 for single, 500 married off the top. But if mom is, if it's a $2 million profit, then only the 250 because she's the only one left. She's still got $1 million, 750,000 in capital gains to pay, and the big tax bill.
I have a question. I recall, I think when I was either talking to somebody at the tax place leaving there, and one gentleman that worked there said, make sure that you add this form into whatever that's what we're talking about as far as parents and everything. So possibly there's a form that if it was added to it in the trust or something, when it came down to it, if the parents were to pass away, that you would not have to pay the capital gains, you would pay it at whatever value the parents had it there. Is there such thing like that? Making sure you add some other form to it to protect the kids from having to pay the capital gains?
No, I don't know of such a form, but with copies of the death certificate, because at closing, like in my example, Tracy and Lauren, I pass away, there's an affidavit death of co-trustee that gets reported with my death certificate. And then when Tracy passes, it will be the affidavit death of trustee with her death certificate. That will allow, again, the kids to sell the house, and with the assessor will see that both trustees are gone. And once the kids sell the house, they know that the kids get a stepped up basis. That's just tax law.
Okay, so that's when you say stepped up basis, is that basically reassessing the property at today's value? So
Don't say reassess, because there's no reassessment going on. It is the kids, the tax base will be the sale price, therefore no capital gains.
Okay, but
we're avoiding a reassessment.
Correct.
Okay, so the stepped up is, they're gonna pay more than that low amount that the parents were paying. We just don't know what it is, but it won't be capped. They won't have to pay capital gains.
No, they won't have to pay capital gains at all because the tax base rises from the floor that mom and dad had it at and now rises to today's value.
When the kids eventually sell that property, let's say 10 years from now, they'll pay the capital gains based upon the value of when they inherited it.
That's what I'm saying.
Subtracted from the new sale price.
Wait, say that, somebody was talking. Say that again.
So
When the kids sell it,
if they inherit the property now, 2023, and then they sell it in 2030, they're only going to pay capital gains from the 2030 sale price minus the 2023 value.
Correct.
okay, got it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
So if there's a $2,000 value today, and in 2030, I'm sorry, $2 million value today, right? And in 2030, it's a $3 million value. It's that $1 million spread.
Even though the parents bought the property for $50,000.
Instead of the whole 3 million, yeah, right?
So when they sell it, if they sell it
Gotcha.
right after the parent passes, then there's no
Correct.
no tax on that.
Correct.
Yeah, because sometimes the children can't afford even the taxes, so they want to sell it right after the parent passes, so they wouldn't have a capital gains.
It just depends on the entire estate. So that's really an accountant. It's an accountant question. We don't give tax advice. Like
Yeah.
Lauren also, he's not giving tax advice. This is
No.
just
Basic knowledge.
experience, but everyone needs to talk to their accountant. They have to.
Right, sure.
Everyone has an individual, there's so many individual things, and without knowing everything, without knowing the entire picture, no one can give advice. It all has to be looked at. Yeah,
Send them straight to an accountant.
yeah, absolutely. Because there's more to the story. It's not just the property. There's maybe other assets, other debts. You know, the whole picture has to be looked at.
Okay.
Right. Okay, because just like I said, we had the conversation. I had my friend's dad passed last weekend, so they're gonna, they need to go to an account. That's the best advice to give right now.
Are you gonna list the house?
Yeah, it's the house. First.
Probably so. Yeah.
Are you gonna be
Yeah.
the listing agent?
So I mean,
That
the kid,
that is the plan.
right, the kid might,
Yeah.
the kid, however old the kid is, might already have an accountant that he does his taxes every year.
Yeah.
No,
So-
they don't have any money.
They don't doubt that. Okay. So,
The big question is, how was dad vested? Is there someone else on title? Is he gonna go to probate?
Probably not bad.
But it all depends on how dad was vested.
Right.
More importantly, is there a wife in the picture? Is that title with somebody else? All right.
No, just 4 sons, and only one of them's really competent.
Okay, well, again, if he's not in a trust, it'll end up in probate, which is fine. But then the court order from probate is what I, the title company, need to move forward. It's gonna tell me who signs the deed.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Always start with the title report, I guess. I always start.
Title report, and
Title
when
report,
closing,
yeah.
you end with the title report.
Right.
Okay.
You guys see me here a lot. You see me here every day. So find me, pull me aside, take me to the balcony, chat me for 10 minutes, whatever questions you got,
Perfect.
I'm here to help. I'm all in. I'm commissioned like you guys, so let's just make it happen.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Real quick, so we're also talking about lending. We have a lot of choices when it comes to lenders. May Shalhoub in our office with Movement Mortgage, she has a lot of sources for money. So, if our clients have banking relationships maybe with Chase, Wells Fargo, Union Bank, Citibank, wherever they have their money, they might have a relationship with that bank. That's a direct lender who has their own criteria for a loan. But then there's mortgage brokers like May who have access to capital from all different sources, and not only banks. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
But not only banks, but also private lenders, hard money. There's a lot of sources she can go to, and different lenders have different criteria. So it's nice to have options. So, you know, you need a lender that can do single family condo, 1 to 4 unit. When you start to get into a 5 or more unit, that would become a commercial loan. It's still a residential property, but the loan is commercial. When you start to do 5 or more unit. So Chase will do that kind of loan. Maybe, you know, different lenders will. Wells Fargo, I don't think they do that. But it's good to have options. May's in the office. You can always talk to her. And I might also recommend that because it's so important that you close the deal for your buyer client, you might want to have May. If your client insists that they have a lender that's not going to be a problem, you might want to tell May in the office that you have a client that's insisting they want to work with their lender. Would she mind being a backup lender and doing a double application? Your buyer would basically be applying with their own lender and May at the same time. And May would be there as a backup just in case something happens in the first month. I have had issues with loans not going through at the last second. And this is after buyers have removed contingency. So the best thing your buyer can do, unless they have the cash to close the cash, the best thing your buyer can do is have a safety net of a backup lender that they've already have a loan application. Like the entire file is complete. Like all they would need is the last second appraisal. And then the loan will go through.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have that as backup. All right. Obviously title, you can't close without title. And my advice to you is just get a title report from the beginning on the listing. So you're ready to close. That's it.
Quick question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where's our interest rate now for jumbo and
So I'm hearing interest rates all over the board.
7.25.
But when I'm really curious about interest rate, it also has to do with the amount of the down payment and the type of
Yeah.
loan. So, but a really quick way that I go when someone is asking me the current rates, I go to bankofamerica.com.
Okay.
When my keyboard works, I go to Bank of America.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
That's weird. Keyboard off. Keyboard on. I lost my keyboard. Maybe it's work. Okay. That's it is connecting though. Strange. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna grab a lightning cable. 1 second.
You coming to the boat tomorrow? Yeah. Try to call the hotel, nobody's pick up. That's not a good sign. Several times. Because there's a strike. There's a hotel strike everywhere in LA County.
It was for 1 day.
Doesn't mean
No. The hotel strike is still, is it over? It was only for 1 day?
1 day. It was like different industries, so.
Who's asking about the rates today?
It's a
I
minute.
will.
Hey, Crystal, how are you? It's Sean.
It's still
I'm
going
good.
on.
Hi.
That was the board. The 1 day is for the.
They wanted 1 day, but is that confirmed? Are they back? Anybody know for sure?
Not confirmed, no.
What's the question?
The hotel staff is still on strike.
Oh, I think it was just a 1 day
Oh,
strike.
really? That was the hotel for 1 day too?
I think it was just 1 day.
It was 1 day for everyone, but the hotel strike is still ongoing.
It's still on, that's what I'm saying. And I tried to call the hotel and they didn't pick up the phone.
Oh, wow.
Talking about bowl tomorrow.
Okay.
We just want to make sure,
right?
make sure we can get in and then there's no interference. I mean,
He was asking if bowl is gonna happen tomorrow because of the strike.
Yeah, both gonna happen. Gold is going to.
If not, it'll
sure.
be back here. We're open. Keller Williams, Beverly Hills is open.
Give you the address.
65.
I can give you the exact address.
Be here.
Signed in. Address is 6333 Bristol Parkway. 90230. I'll show up tomorrow at 9, hopefully.
Okay, so I go to bankofamerica.com. No.
What's the name of the hotel?
Marriott Courtyard. But you can see it from the freeway.
Hey, JJ, do you know the parking situation for Bowl tomorrow?
I don't. Get there early. I don't.
Probably plenty of parking.
Okay, so I just go to bankofamerica.com and then at the very top, I go to home loans.
Oh, okay.
And this is really just for me to know what current rates are.
Yeah.
So I go to home loans and I'll go to mortgage.
Good.
And then I need to enter some numbers. So
Yeah.
let's say we have a $1 million purchase.
Purchase, yeah.
And then down payment, I'm gonna put 20%.
20%.
So that's 200,000. And then zip code, I'll just put here 90210,
Right.
update rates. And then that'll just show me when that completes. There we go. A 30-year fix right now is 7 3/8.
Yeah.
With 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah, 7 3/8 is 1 point. Now-
1%.
Now, you might call May and get a better rate. You know, so I just want to also say, when lenders don't have a ton of money to lend,
Right.
you know, I think there was just like hundreds of billions of dollars pulled out of banks recently.
Really?
Yeah, hundreds of billions. Just people
Who pulled that out?
pulling their money
Oh,
out,
people.
scared of the
Yeah, but they
banks.
can-
Like, I don't know
What's
what's,
happening in California with that bank?
some banks went under and
Yeah, in Northern
there's
California.
been a major exodus of cash being pulled out of banks.
But they can always borrow
Put it in a box
from.
with a mattress.
All I wanted to say, where I was going with this was that when a bank doesn't want to loan money, they raise their rate.
The raise the rate.
That's all they do. Like, they're not gonna say we're not lending right now,
Yeah, the raise.
because that would look horrible for the bank.
Yeah.
They just raise their rate to be uncompetitive and then no one's using them.
So they don't.
They're
want-
not lending
they
money.
don't want
So
to lend.
So they might have a higher rate and then that just means they don't have a ton of money to lend right this second.
Right.
But then there might be a huge influx of money and they'll lower the rate. Yeah.
So the point of going with a lender versus going with your bank is they have access to better.
So if you want to get a loan from Bank of America, you have to fit the Bank of America criteria.
Right.
All the way from 1 to 100.
Right.
And it's very hard to get them to bend on any of those. So it might be the simplest thing, but it's on their criteria. Yeah. So there's things called what we call an overlay. So that loan is going to get sold in the secondary market, right? And there's a basic criteria to sell that loan in the secondary market. But B of A has their own overlays that they put on top of those criteria that's going to prevent them from doing the loan. Because they have to satisfy their investors, their board of directors, and, you know, so that's all. It's good to have options. Did you have a question?
You said Bank of America .com, then you go to home loans and then mortgage and then do what?
That's what I do. So I just go to bankofamerica.com. I click on home loans.
Yeah.
And then
You know your app also.
and mortgage.
Yeah.
The phone also on the app, if you have the app.
Yeah, and then I just enter the purchase price, down payment.
That rate is the same as May. May says between
could be.
7
It could
to
be.
7.25.
So let's just check out Wells Fargo real quick. As long as we're doing this. WellsFargo.com. And then I'm gonna go to home loans. Check mortgage rate.
They can maybe do fast.
Okay, so this is saying purchase rates for a 30-year fixed at 6 3/4.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now,
That's government, not jumbo.
this is not a jumbo loan. Okay, so here's the 30 fixed jumbo. The 30-year fixed jumbo is 6.5%. With a 25% down payment.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to put 250,000 down on $1 million purchase. So they'll get that 6.5, and B of A is 7 3/8 with 1 point. So they're not saying what their points are here, closing costs. Anyways, what I'm saying is there are options, right? So just,
There is points.
there are points.
It says closing costs includes the cost of required discount points.
Yeah, but they don't, they
Don't specify how.
don't specify. So a point is 1% of the borrowed amount. So if you're borrowing $1 million, 1 point is $10,000. But they pay a point on $1 million and they're borrowing $1 million, they're gonna pay 10 grand to get the loan, plus other costs. That's just the point. So,
Also, JJ,
yeah,
there's something called mortgage daily news that they send you the mortgage rates every day.
okay. Great. Mortgage Daily News. There you go, everybody.
It
Mortgage
goes
Daily.
on my phone.
Okay.
But it comes out after 2 o'clock every day.
Okay.
Friday.
And does it give you different lenders? It's okay, it's okay. It just gives you different lenders and their rates. Because there's bankrate.com, they do something similar.
There's a lot of stuff on
Lot of
there.
stuff.
Maybe you might want to take a look at it.
Okay. Mortgage Daily News.
Yeah. I think it would have yesterday's rates.
All right. Now let's, Mortgage Daily. Mortgage Daily News, mortgage rates, 30-year fixed mortgage rates.
Found it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. I can tell.
okay. But we don't know what bank it's from.
But it has, here's the daylight jumbo.
It's a rate tracker. So it's saying like the average rate right now is about 7%. On a 30-year jumbo, 7.13. That's it. Okay, I want to go over this again real quick, just to make sure everyone has this on the MLS. So bear with me. Everyone, this is for everyone at home on Zoom too. I want to make sure that you have your listing header information on the MLS. So I'm going to log into the MLS.
So from what we've seen so far, you want to look at Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I mean, Wells Fargo looked good. But I also want to check with the mortgage broker. See what options they have. Okay, so in the MLS, it's really important that you guys have your listing header done, because when you email your clients from the MLS, every listing that you send them should have your name, phone number, and email at the top. So if you go here to your profile, there's an option here for listing headers. So you must do this. You click on listing headers. Real quick, before we go to listing headers, if you click listings here, it's going to say photos. If you go to listings photos, when you click on photos, one of the places that you can upload a head, this is where you have to go to upload your headshot. So just to show you. So
where were you?
Upload agent photo right here. So you're going to go to listings, photos. So it's the same place where you can upload photos for your listings, but that same page is upload agent photo. So you should put your headshot there. Okay. Once you upload your headshot here, then if you go to profile listing headers, then you're going to create a header. So you can create a new custom header by clicking that button. And then you're going to select what kind of header you want. This is going to appear at the very top of your listings that you email to your clients.
If it's already been done, how can I check what it looks like?
So if it's already been done, then you're gonna have a screen that looks like this. And like I saved one named default. That's what I named it.
I believe you helped me with that.
So I'm gonna edit my default header.
Okay.
I'm gonna press edit, and then this is what, so I don't know why, but when you look at it, it doesn't default to center. I always have it centered. I always make sure it's centered, and then I press preview. So this over here is what's appearing on everything that I email out. This right here at the top. I don't have my photo on what I email out. You can't. So you're just gonna select a header that has your photo. So I put my name at the top, Keller Williams, Beverly Hills. Then I put my phone number. I put this like stick, I guess you call it. It's above the enter key on your keyboard. You press shift and then that key above the enter key. And that's like a separator. And then I put my email address. And then, so I go profile, listing headers. I'm going to create a new custom header. And then I'm going to select what I want my header to look like. So I chose a 3-line with no photo, 3 lines of text with, oh, that's with photo. I did 3 lines of text with no photo. Here, 3 lines of text without photo. That's the one that I'm using. But actually that has a separator in the middle. Here's 3 lines of text without photo, without the separator in them. So that's the one that I'm using. If you want to have your photo on the left, you're just going to choose one that has a photo. So this right here is the same one that I'm using with a photo on the left. And then after you select one of those, then you enter your information, center it, and then you can preview it, and then you can save it, and you're going to name it when you save it. So I want everyone to make sure that they have their header, because when you are just in the MLS, you search listing, family. Like right now, I'm just looking up a listing. If I want to email it to my client, see what happens. Active listing in Beverly Hills. Here, there's an active listing. I'm just going to click it. Click the MLS number. So here's the listing. This is what your email will look like if you don't have a header. It'll just look like that. If you have a header, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to put your name at the top. So it takes the listing and it puts you right at the top. Right. And if you have a photo, your photo will be over there on the left. So we want to email our clients from us, right?
All caps.
I mean, that's how I do it. You can play with it. I mean, everyone has a different artistic, what they like. So play with it. You can always change it. I think this is a little small from my point of view, but I'm not, yeah. It is what it is. You can play with it, change it, until you like what you're sending out.
Okay.
But it's really important that you have your headers there. So it's, again, you're going to go to listings, photos. That's the area that you're going to be able to upload your headshot. You should upload your headshot even if it's not on your header, because your emails will go out from the MLS with your headshot, even though at the top of the listing page, it doesn't have your photo. So that's really important. After you upload your agent photo, then go to profile, listing headers, and then you're going to create a new custom header. So this is what it looks like when you create a new custom header. And then I'm going to press center after I enter all that information. And then preview. And that's when it looks good, I'm gonna type in the word default or whatever I want to name it. I'm gonna save it as default, save. And now it's done. I have a default header. All right, just want to make sure everyone has that. All All right, now, because we have bold tomorrow and because it's important for you guys to have an area farm, I want to show you again how, and for anyone that hasn't done it yet.
Yes.
How to pick a farm, how to pick a farm. We're gonna do it one more time. So, okay, from the MLS home screen. I'm interested in an area. I want to pick an area of 500 homes and make sure that it has a 3% turnover.
Get closer to the screen because it's too small.
I want to make sure that the area I'm picking has a 3% turnover. Doesn't pay to farm an area that has no sales. You're not gonna have any business and you're gonna be like, it doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work.
Yeah, I know we went through this a couple of days ago, but it's hard to follow.
Doing it again, this is why I'm doing it again. So,
Thank you.
so it's important to pick an area that has sales. When you pick an area that has sales, you already know it's gonna have future sales because the history has sales. So when you're calling these people or emailing them, you're saying to yourself, are you the one that's gonna be the sold? Are you the one? Are you the one? Because you know there's gonna be X amount. Okay, so I'm ready to search. So this is the MLS homepage. I'm gonna go search, listing, single family. This takes me to the single family search. So just to talk real quick about the different searches. If I press search and I go listing single family, I can go condo. I can search for income property. I can search for land. I can search for leases. There's something here called residential cross property. So this is the page for single family. And I'm only searching single family from this page. If I want to search single family and condo, I can go to residential cross property.
Oh.
And that will allow me to do a search for single family and condo at the same time.
Okay, search.
Okay, it's called residential cross property. But I'm gonna probably want to assign dollar amounts to my search too. If I click on that dollar amount, it'll open up a pop-up window and I'll be able to put in my minimum price or my maximum price. Usually your buyers are gonna have a maximum price. When your buyers tell you a maximum price, hit a little high because they can negotiate. Just because they're asking 1.2 doesn't mean they won't sell for 1. Right? So if your buyer says I can only go maximum 1,
1.2.
search for 1, go up to 1.2. Because there could be a price reduction, they might entertain a lower offer, you never know. But it would be a shame to not show your buyer the property that's asking $1,025,000 because it wasn't in your search.
Yeah.
Right? They're asking $1,025,000 and you don't even know about it because you only searched up to $1 million. Okay. So for the purposes of our farm, I'm gonna go search listing single family. I'm only interested in single family because of the price range. All right, so I'm at the single family search screen. Now I have to pick a farm area. So where do I want to go? So let's just say I'm gonna Westchester, we can go to Westchester. Okay, now if I go to Westchester. Here's Westchester.
Where's Manchester?
We call Westchester Silicon Beach. Silicon Beach. Okay. So looking at Westchester. So as I zoom in, there's going to be a level of zoom that shows me all the lots. I need to count an area of 500 homes. That's an ideal farm area because 500 homes, if you want to hit the same person once a month. And if you do 500, there's 5 days a week. If you hit 25 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 125 times 4 weeks in a month, that's 500. So that means you're gonna hit the same person every month. So that's why 500 is it's a manageable farm. Now I wanna make sure that my 500 area farm has 15 sales. So The reason I'm picking 15 is I want to make sure that there's enough business to go around. So I pull up a calculator. Okay, so if I go 15 sales divided by 500 homes, that's 3%, 0.03. I need to make sure we have a 3% turnover. All right, now I'm going to pick an area. So let's just look at this area here, and I'm going to try to count 500. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 30, 32, 34, 36. So let's say 36. So I need 500 homes divided by 36. I need like 14 of those size blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to pick that entire area right there. Let's see what we come up with. Now I'm going to click on the draw button. There's a draw button here. I'm going to click that. It's going to bring up a pencil, a square, a circle, and a house. I'm going to pick the house. When I select that, now I can go click, and pick my area. So I'm going to click. I'm going to come down here and click. Come down here and click. Go over to here and click. Go up to here and click. And then click here. I'm guessing this is about 500. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, now, once I select my farm area, then I'm going to click over here on sold. And I'm not going to just check the box. I'm going to check that calendar. I want to click on that calendar and click last year. That's going to give me a 1-year time frame when I click last year.
Sold and then last year.
I'm just gonna go over here and click the calendar next to sold. A pop-up box is gonna come up and I'm gonna hit last year. That changes my search date from August 9th, 2022 to August 9th, 2023. And then I'm gonna press apply. Now it's gonna tell me how many homes sold in the last year. 32 homes sold in that area in the last year. That is a 6%.
What does it give you the number?
That's in the upper left. That's a 6%.
Okay. So I got 34.
That is an amazing return. That means that was last year. Let's see what happened the previous year. I'm going to go back over to my calendar now. Click it. And instead of hitting last year, this is from 2022 to 2023. Now I want to know from 2021
2022
to 2022. And when I hit apply, that number is going to change. So the previous 12 months was 32 sales. When I hit apply, it's going to give me the previous year.
I got double.
41.
Wow, even more.
Can you imagine?
In the section that I was looking, it went from 34 to 54.
Okay, so where's my calculator?
Hey, JJ,
Yeah.
I believe that polygon that you have selected, if you unselect sold, it'll show you the amount of single family units in that area of that polygon.
Oh, okay, let's try that. So 41 divided by 500. You're saying it might not be 500. That's an 8% turnover.
8%.
Okay, where should I click?
So on the left where you have checked off sold, if you unselect it in that polygon area, it'll show you the total amount of single family units.
Is this that says 1,075?
Yeah.
That's a combo between the two. Because you're doing both condos and single families, right?
No.
No,
You're saying I picked a 1,000 home farm?
Yeah, because this is when I emailed you, that's what I was trying to figure out as well. But in that farm that you have selected in the polygon, it's
1,000 homes, right? It's not 500, JJ, right? 1,000.
It's still a good farm because it's definitely 3 or 4%.
Yeah, it's good.
But I'm counting here and I don't know how it's coming up with that number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 30, 60, 90. I don't think it's that many.
No, it's 500.
It's not 1,070. I don't see 1,075
No,
here.
500, yeah.
You sure that
Yeah, and the circles inside the polygon shows the amount of numbers of single family units as well.
Look, this says 550. There's not 550 homes right there. I don't think it's correct.
That's listings, that's numbers of listings, so it could be.
This could be 550
different listings.
Here, it says homes here are priced between 2,000 and 4 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't, this is 500, so this is about 500.
500, yeah.
So this is an incredibly active area. Definitely
That's
worth.
including rentals.
Yeah, but my search is not for rentals. If you look here, it says SFR.
There are not too many rentals over there.
So where it says listing found, that's not accurate then.
This is not, it's not accurate. I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's not accurate. But because when I go to, yeah, it's just not accurate. I don't know what that number is.
Where is that area?
This is Westchester.
Westchester, yeah, that's one of my farms too. Yeah, it's on the area right now.
So it's important to pick 500 and then that's how you see what the turnover rate is. Once you pick a farm, you can take a snapshot of this and email it to me, or you can tell me the boundaries. So you can tell me whatever street that is, West 77th, bordered by Emerson, Third, and
the other side.
So if you email me a picture, make sure that I can see the street names.
Westchester's.
And if, or just email me, I just need to know your farm. A picture works great for me, because I need, when I'm pulling phone numbers and email addresses for you, for your farm, I'm basically copying your picture on my screen in a different search program. So, okay, so Bold starts tomorrow. And it's a little intimidating because there are agents there that are successful. Okay, very successful agent. There are some very successful agents there. And it can be intimidating when they're doing so much business and you're sitting there like, right? If you don't have current business, it's like not a lot for you to talk about. Don't be intimidated. Be excited that you're in that environment, and everything should be a learning experience. So I want to be in an atmosphere of agents that are doing business. I want to see what their actions are. I want to hear how they speak, what their conversations are, what their day looks like. So there's a book, How to Be Successful, or How to Get Rich. Or is it How to Get Rich? I think is the book. Something. It's a famous book. I don't know. Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow.
Think and Grow Rich. If I had to summarize Think and Grow Rich into a simple formula, it's find a successful model and copy it exactly. That's the whole book. It really is. Find a successful model and copy it exactly. If you're not getting the same results as the model that you're copying, you're not copying the model exactly. That's it. If you see a successful agent that does 500 homes a year and you copy their model exactly, you should also be selling 500 homes a year. And when you're in an environment of people that are doing that, you should be really focused on looking at what they're doing, what they're saying, what their day looks like. You know, that is what you want to copy it. You want to emulate it. When you want a great ad, if you want a great open house flyer, go on a Google search and search for open house flyers, and then go to images, and then just look for a great one, right? You can copy great ads. And so that's all. Go there, and I want to prepare you with your calling lists, because there's a lot of going to be contacts and calling, and your scripts and dialogues are going to get better about calling people that you don't know. So I just want you to be prepared for that.
The farming area, are you going to do the door knocking that area, or are you going to put car?
So
When make a cold call, to the door.
that's totally up to you.
I see.
If there are, I don't know an unsuccessful door knocker that's door knocked for 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know one.
Yeah, it could be.
If you commit to door knocking and you can get past month 12, 13, and 14, you're gonna be successful.
It's in the same area of Westchester where I used to live. I mean, some part of that guy.
So it's the whole thing that we're trying to accomplish is awareness. So we had a class, I think Monday or last Monday, I don't remember, is just about the average person can only name one agent. And then maybe they can name, maybe a small sub portion of that can name 2. No one's naming 3 agents off the top of their head. You need to be the agent that they're thinking of. And the way that you accomplish that is by constantly being in their face. So a constant in their face. So when you pick a farm, if you're door knocking it, you're knocking that door once a month. It's gonna be a cold knock the first time or second time. By the 3rd, 4th time, it's a warm knock now, all right? They know just from your presence that you're the area expert.
If they say they are not moving that,
Right.
you don't see anything sold in that area and you don't.
If there's no activity in an area, pick a different area. And you're not in the right area. Because what I'm telling you is when you see this and you see last year in a slower market, in last year, when you have an area that has 32 sales, I know I have 500 homes and I need to figure out who are going to be the 32 sales this coming 12 months. When I'm knocking that door or making that phone call, I know that 32 people are selling. I just have to figure out which ones they are.
Yeah.
Because there are, 100% there are,
Yeah.
right? There's going to be, yeah.
That zone has 844.
This is 844?
Yeah.
Okay.
Single family.
Okay, so 32 divided by 844. Lost my calculators.
Where'd you get that 844?
Yeah, how did you get that number so I can know for future?
Title toolbox.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. There you go. Is that the clear mark title toolbox one?
Yes.
So I have 32 divided by 844. So last year it had a 3.8% turnover. All I need is 3%. I just need to know that it's doing 3%. Right? 15 out of 500. Yeah. That's it. So I know there's business there. I know I'm not going to get 100% of the business, but I will get some of it.
Yeah.
Look, if I could sell 5, if I can get 5, if I can get 4, I can get 4 of these listings. I'm gonna get 4 to 8 buyers just from my 4 listings.
Right.
So let's say I do 10 deals. I mean, come on, look what we're talking about here. It's good money. It's good money. Now, you might represent a seller here that's moving to a more expensive neighborhood, right? I mean, you don't know. When you have an open house, you're meeting tons of people ready to buy. You're gonna sell them a house. Hopefully you're selling them a house where they're going. It's not just about selling these homes here. It's also about the clients walking in and where these people are going. But when you focus on an area, these people know you. When you have an open house, they're all coming into your open house, saying hi to you. When someone moves into your neighborhood, even if you didn't represent them, you should send them something, welcome to the neighborhood. And they're in your farm now. Just because they were represented by another agent doesn't mean that agent's gonna stay in touch with them. And you are their new agent. Congratulations. So that's really what area farming is about. Relationships. Any questions for today? So we're not gonna have any class Thursday, we're not gonna have a class tomorrow, Thursday, because it's bold. We are gonna have a class a week from tomorrow. Because bold skips
You're
one
coming
week.
to bold,
It
right?
skips one
You're
week.
coming to bold.
I don't know if I can. I just don't know. Like, if I decide to come to bold tomorrow, it's because I decided to hire an assistant.
You decide to what? I'm sorry.
Hire an assistant.
Oh.
Because I can't do everything I want to do without just me. And for me, I'm not a good delegate. I'm a hands-on. I like to do it myself. And I'm standing in my own way, basically. So if I do bold, I'm gonna have to hire someone. So I don't know. But if I know if I make that hire
Right,
and I do bold, I will.
No, I thought maybe you're coming to
I'll
the
be
first-
more successful.
First session to be with us.
But if I'm coming, it's not to do with you, it's for me.
No, I mean, no, just that was a can talk to you over there.
I'm kidding.
I'm for hire.
Can you come?
You're for hire?
Maybe can you come
Yeah.
tomorrow? Let's just, and then decide, because you have 2 weeks to decide, and then if you want to continue. Why don't you come tomorrow? I want to see you.
I might come tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be great. I want to see you over there.
I'm from Alabama.
I'm having an internal struggle with this. I stand in my own way a lot.
No, just one.
You know, when you.
don't have a traditional son. What's your name?
No, there was someone that stood up, he capped yesterday.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah, so he was saying.
Right?
His level.
I get a lot of that, either that or Australia.
Everyone he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He's saying everyone that he does business with, he doesn't, they don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna log off.
All right. Thank you.
Are you gonna send me what I?
Can I show them how I did the count
I love that.
with title toolbox?
Yeah, which I'll.
Oh, but you use that.
Love me some-
When you use that, your best can count.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can I show everybody in the Zoom
Oh.
how to do it?
Oh.
Or can you show?
On title toolbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know that.
Okay, sure.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, title toolbox.
Okay, so I'm gonna log into my account, Here, Mark. Clearmark title performing. I need to go to Clearmark title toolbox.
Radio search, oh, I see.
Clearmark title.
Boundary search.
So Jerry will give you an account with clearmarktitletooolbox.com.
Okay.
Jerry at Clearmark Title will give you this account.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on. But title two off?
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm gonna figure it out.
I'm good, well, yeah.
I don't have anything. So, so on the top says farming.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Just so everyone knows, like I have a different password for every single website.
Yeah.
I have to go back there anyway. I think that's what's starting.
Hey, JJ, quick question. In your experience with farms, is it better to go to a farm that's near you, or is it better to go to a farm with a higher price point, given what you said before?
So you should pick a farm that has activity. And then you should be picking a farm that I mean, if a farm has activity, then you have a chance, right? You have a good chance of getting business there. Now regarding different price ranges, so if you might want to pick a bread and butter farm and a dessert farm. You can pick 2 farms. You just need to make sure that you hit them every month. So obviously, if you do a sale in a very high priced area, you're jumping up and down, right? Because that's amazing. But even when you do a lower price sale, you're still jumping up and down. It's a closing. So
And then what's the other boundary?
the number one complaint from agents that pick farm areas 6 years from now is I didn't pick an expensive farm. So because they've invested their blood, sweat and tears into a farm area,
And then you start.
now they can't leave because that's their area. So if you're to avoid that scenario, pick 2 farms.
Yeah, 2 farms
Got it. Thank you.
with a combination of the criteria you were asking about.
Okay, so here's Westchester. I'm in Clearmark Title. So basically, if I just want to see how many single family homes there are, I'm going to go to farming. And I'm going to do a boundary search.
That's what I did.
And now I'm gonna go click, 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 click,
You come back to the one.
click, and double click on my first one. And then that will tell me get count. And that farm has
Where's it?
1,563. So I need to shrink that.
Where do I get the get count?
You uncheck condo?
Did not, so let me go back to get count.
I had it before and then.
What happened?
So if you go back, you have to.
Sorry.
I have to start over.
Property
Okay.
search.
Click, click,
Research and read.
click. Let's try this, click. Click and then double click. Warning is an invalid boundary, nice. Farming, boundary search. Click. Click, click. 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 Double click. Something's wrong with my double click.
You don't have to go back to the original pin, just when you're done, double click.
When I'm done, double click, don't go back to my original pin.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go here and then I'm gonna
Double click there.
double click on there. Okay, beautiful. Get count. And now I'm going to remove condominium. So here it says property type, single family residence and condominium. I'm gonna check condominium. So now my count goes to
Click get count again.
get count.
Still 1593.
1593. So that's too big an area. So now I'm going to do a boundary search again. That area, get count. I'm going to. So there are 733, and I'm gonna get rid of condominiums. And there are still 733. So there's no condos in that area. Look at that. So farming, boundary search. Boom.
402. Okay. And now.
Don't do Westchester, please. Nah, just kidding.
That's my area. I just want to get 500 here, so.
Okay.
Get count.
And then pick that same area.
Now we are at
We're gonna have to look at this.
467.
That'll work.
So we're getting there. That's 467 properties. So this is probably a good place to start in order to get 500. And then you're gonna use this same map and go back to the MLS and select the area, because this will allow you to get the count. Thank you.
Yeah.
So start here at title toolbox. Get a 500 area count, then go back to the MLS and copy this area. And then you can select the calendar and go last year. And then the year before and the year before, just to make sure that you have the turnover. So,
That gives you an idea of how big the area would be.
yeah. So let's do that. So
It's barely 2%.
go to the MLS.
It is a small area, though. It's 400. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, a few blocks.
Yeah, okay, this is very helpful.
It's going fast.
I got. My phone. There were a few a lot of few DNCs do not come.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, give it to.
Yeah, that was like.
Sorry. This thing
Use
is
the-
crazy.
The one?
Mail.
Yeah. See, the year before. Year before it was 27. There you go. It's a small little area. Look at that.
Search. List.
This was very helpful, actually.
Now I need to find that area, so.
It happens. You just got, yeah.
Start to send you the address. You could have searched for it. That's what I want. We have tools because we have.
Hey, JJ, can we bring our laptops to Bold?
Yeah, yeah, I would recommend it.
And it's right over here, so.
So she's gonna have.
Yeah, they sent me,
That's the idea. Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She's gonna receive an offer, so she can sell.
It's so.
I'm trying to figure out where.
See it?
See anything?
Yeah, comparative market analysis.
Let's see. Here's the address.
There's 70s.
Are you looking for Westchester?
I am.
Should be near LAX.
There's La Tierra on the 405. Okay, now I know exactly where we are. So I'm looking for La Sierra.
It's gonna give you more left and south.
There's the 405.
Go south a little bit.
There. That's La Tierra, so it's that area right there. Airport Boulevard.
Airport Boulevard.
La Tierra. Like.
Scroll in, it's right there. Yeah, it's just to the right of the mouse. Scroll in a little bit more. Right there. Airport and La Tierra.
Okay, so now I'm gonna click draw and then house. And then Airport Boulevard. So I'm gonna go from here. So actually, before I do that, I'm gonna clear it. Because I'm just clearing this. Because I want to change my view to aerial. Now I'm gonna click the house. I'm going down Airport Boulevard to 78, 77. Really just shot across to Wallack. Just under 77. That's pretty accurate. Okay. So that was 470. So I'm gonna go sold last year. One. Okay, so there were 22 sales. So we hit our 3%. And then I'm gonna go back another year. And that goes from 22 to 18. We're still over our 3%. I'm gonna go 2020 to 2021. And that goes 18 again. So in 18, 18, 22. Back even one more year. 2019.
For those computer illiterate, I want to see how to.
Oh, so
have,
I'm clicking that I'm clicking that calendar right there.
Yeah, no, I just want to see how to get the double screen, how to
Oh.
put the side by side. I
Right,
don't know
so,
how to do that.
so all I did was, I took the tab right there and I dragged it out. And that just separated the window. If you drag the tab back, it'll go back in. That's all I did. All right, guys, that's it for today.
All right, good stuff.
Hey, thank you, JJ. Appreciate it.
Okay, all right, so send me your farm areas and I will respond with the phone numbers and email addresses.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
Yeah.
So you want to see sold?
Jeez.